Hey folks, welcome to today's video. Today we are discussing how exactly I earned a shiny Mageblood across the course of a couple of days of farming. I started off with 27 divines worth of investment and we ended up with a shiny Mageblood. Now, how was that possible? It has to do with this tab here, and it has to do with some up and coming details and stats, but for the most part we farmed harvest, we did the sextants, and we also did some shaper guardians, and then all of the maps that have dropped, like these for example, I will now go ahead and I will run these. For the longest time, I've played PoE kind of casually. I've played a lot, but I've played casually in the sense of if it drops, it drops. If it's a piece of content I want to do, I'll do it. If it's not, I won't do it. I haven't hunted currency or any goals in a long time. But this league, with how sort of achievable a Mageblood was, it wasn't like the 380 divines, you know, it was basically half price, and I figured, you know what, it would make an interesting YouTube video, it would motivate me a bit more to play if I had a goal in mind. I had a lot of spare time that day and I was going to sit down and I had everything prepared and I was going to do it. So we decided to go ahead and farm guardians and harvest with a passive tree that basically had crop rotation, all of the harvest nodes, a little bit of chance to drop synthesis maps, a bit of a chance to drop conqueror maps and drop elder guardian maps. We took as many doubling nodes as we possibly could. There's maybe one here I missed. And also here we had a chance for them to not consume scarabs, because sometimes we were using scarabs. You'll be able to see the sextants that I was using. So I was using one sextant that is additional shaper guardian maps drop when completed. They obviously deal 100% more damage and 200% more life, so things can get pretty hectic in there. The other sextant I was using was the area contains the sacred grove. That would force basically the harvest to always spawn. So the next was just some magic pack size, and then the last one was the cheapest one, which was harvests have 100% more life, but the juice is duplicated. And that's kind of what we did. And we also just put in some random scarabs because we were using growing hordes, and growing hordes gives us pack size, which means more juice. So that's kind of what we were doing. What happens here is, because we have the chance for Maven Witness to spawn 1 to 3 monsters, a lot of time you'd be fighting a boss that was really souped up, so it would have a lot of mods because you wanted pack size. It would spawn 2 to 3 bosses, and they'd obviously have 100% more damage and 200% more life. So yes, you did need a bit of a strong build to do this. Not a crazy build. I wouldn't say my build is absolutely GG. It's just a league starting detonate dead build with some solid gear. But yeah, you end up effectively fighting guardians with decent map mods, and you're trying to also kill the bosses that spawn. You're effectively doing crop rotation, which means if I click a load of tier 1 blues, there's a chance it upgrades the other, and sometimes you would end up with a tier 4 monster, which will give a load of juice, and sometimes you end up with no juice because you just haven't upgraded right. It's a little bit hit and miss. You would probably make more money without crop rotation, but occasionally it hits, you get upgraded, it doubles, and you get a load of money. So we bought 4 shaper maps, and you're able to sustain them because of the sextant that lets you drop a shaper map, and it doesn't matter which one it is, because you can then Orb of Horizon them into the correct one. So I bought some Guardian map drops. They were 80C for 9. I bought some Harvest blue monsters. I paid 62C for 9 of them. Sacred Grove was 42C for 9 of them, and the magic monsters were 6C each for 9 of them. Now, what we also did to make the thing a little bit more profitable is we ran the Formed. The Formed basically is witnessing the guardians, and they will drop splinters which turn into Maven Writs. And because we're doing all of the guardians, we may as well Maven Witness them. And because of the Maven Witness that summons bosses, we have to witness them. and if we are not doing an invitation, they will remain witnessed, so you can't re-witness them. Second set was a little bit cheaper. I managed to find the Guardian Sextants for 55, 70, 30C, some 70Cs. The Harvest Monsters I got a bit cheaper as well. The Sacred Grove was a little bit more expensive, and I purchased 5 of the Formed because I wasn't sustaining until the very last sort of, I guess you would call it the very last set of 4 I sustained. So this has not a good chance to drop, but I think we were doing 9 lots of sextants and maps, and you can see each time I only had to purchase 5. The other 4 dropped. This is what we've farmed. This is the most interesting thing, and I figured I'd just post it. Maybe somebody takes some interest. We have 10 Maven Writs at 28 Divines. Looks like they're going up in price again. These were like 2.5. They're now almost 3. The Juice, 21 Divines of Yellow Juice, 80,000 Juice, and 6 Divines of Blue Juice at 30k. So you can see the price difference here. 31k of blue juice, roughly, let's call it a little bit less than half of the 80k, is almost 3 to 4 times less money. The Formed invitations are 1.6 divines. I was buying them at 1.2. They've gone up a little bit. Divine Orb drops. I had 1 singular Divine Orb drop. The 5 other Divine Orb drops came from the League mechanic, where I found the boss and he dropped a jewel and I sold it un-ID'd. Now, I didn't do the League mechanic during this because the League mechanic buffs up the monsters, which are already super buffed from the Sextants, and I did it once and bricked a map and I just didn't want to do it again. So I very luckily went into the League mechanic once or twice and happened to find the jewel. That's that. 340, so that's like, you know, 1 div, 2 div, 3, 4, probably got 5 or 6 divines in these maps, maybe even more. One thing it's not counting in here is it's not counting these gems. Now, these gems were the only good ones that dropped off the invitation. I have 2 burning damages for 60c. We have Awakened Splash, which is nothing. We got 3 minion damage gems, which is 50c. And then we got Awakened elemental damage, so that's about 6 divines, and it's not included in there. Okay, so we'll do a quick update, right? So obviously, once we've farmed all of the harvest juice and we'd sold it all, we also had some shaper maps, and we liquidated all of the juice into currency. We then had 27 shaper sets remaining, and you could sell them at half a divine each. And I realised if you sell a shaper set at half a divine each, that's obviously about 110c, when the fragment, which is guaranteed to drop, is basically 200c. So I was pretty much throwing away half the money by quick selling them. Then I decided to do Ubers, because my build can do Ubers. So I did Uber Shaper, I got an extra Orb Dominance, I got 2 Sublime Eyes, which is 52 divines for all of them. So we had 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, about 100 divines in juice, and then we got 52 divines from Shaper. We've also got some flasks to sell, and on top we could also run these. The Stack website tells me I've got 190 divines in here, not including Price Dying Suns, and these maps are just 60c, and I'm sure if I was to run all of these maps I would make more than 60c, because the fragment itself is about 60c. Oh yeah, one thing we can do is we can go ahead and we can look. We just got a load of gloves, some helmets, and some, yeah, mostly gloves. We can just val all of these, right? +2 AoE, vulnerability, spell crit, brick, trap and mine, nothing, frenzy charge, Ellie weakness, aura gem, nothing, okay? Ellie weakness, 6.8 divines. Oh my god. Well, so that's like another 5 divines onto the table. Wow, crikey. That's a lot of currency, man. I was farming some Harvest and some Shaper Guardians, and then maybe I'll move on to doing some Conqueror maps or some Elder Guardian maps, we'll see. Right now I'm going to sell everything and then figure out what the next plan is, I suppose, with the league or the game. Maybe it's a new build, maybe it's putting that money into juice, maybe it's crafting something, I don't know. But that's what we're up to. Thanks very much, cheers, and leave a comment and a like, and consider subscribing if you are new here.